Well, I've done it. I wasn't gonna watch. I had no intentions of watching this episode, but some people asked me to do it, and it was kind of exactly what I thought it was gonna be. So let's. I'm just gonna dive into it. I'm gonna probably talk about spoilers. If I don't, then hey ho. But resolution of the Daleks. To sum it, if I was to sum it up, it's like quite a few of Chris Chibnall's scripts where it had the seeds there, it had the potential there, and yet it was completely fucking wasted because it decided to focus on other things or just kind of just limp along. Yeah, this episode is 75 minutes. Well, actually, no, I think it's 70 minutes total. Got it finished 5 minutes early, but yeah, it's the longest Doctor Who special since Dear the Doctor, if I remember rightly. So yeah, it's the longest special I've had in a while, and the reason is I had to sort of wrap up a few things. So this episode is a sequel to Resolution, and also surprisingly that came out of nowhere, is a sequel to Arachnids in the UK. Yeah, I don't believe this. Donald Trump stand-in. I know he has a name, but we all know why he's there. Donald Trump stand-in returns in this episode. And not just as a cameo, no, he's in this proper. He's in this more than the fucking Daleks are in this. So I hope you like having, Donald Trump stand in. Because that's what we have in this episode. As more of the main villain, to be honest. I'm not joking, he gets much more screen time than the Daleks do. The Daleks don't get that much screen time. Despite the running time, they don't actually get a lot of screen time. So, yeah. So the story of this goes is that after the reconnaissance Dalek was destroyed, it was basically taken away, and Donald Trump stand-in was able to hijack that and start making these 3D printed drones. Based on them. Yeah. Though if they are 3D printed, then shouldn't they be pretty fragile? Because, nah, but whatever, I won't delve into that. I think that's just, Chris Gibble trying to be modern, I guess, but whatever. Because a lot of 3D printing stuff, just like, you don't do 3D printing for mass production. You're saying because it's much more expensive to do that like that. But anyway, so yeah, and it turns out the scientist guy he got to make it, discovered, some microscopic remains of the destroyed reconnaissance Dalek and decided to clone it. I don't know why he decided to do this. This is just a fucking stupid idea. And hey, guess what happens? It does a repeat of Resolution again, which in turn was copying Order of the Daleks, and this story is basically Blood of the Daleks. Yeah. So this guy who's taken over by this mutated Dalek starts, manufacturing other Daleks, and basically has a Dalek factory where it clones and makes impure Daleks. So yeah, basically it's copying, obviously you would think Remembrance, but actually it's more of a copy of Blood of the Daleks. Like, I was discussing with some of my friends that this was, this is going to be a copy of Blood of the Daleks. I didn't realise how much of a copy of Blood of the Daleks it was going to be a copy. I thought it would just take some things, but no, it's Blood of the Daleks. But nowhere near as good or interesting. Yeah, and the Doctor really does make some bloody stupid decisions. in this that just baffle me. So yeah, it is literally Blood of the Daleks. And if you don't know the plot of Blood of the Daleks, which is a Big Finish audio story, basically a human starts making their own Daleks, and the proper Daleks see them as impurities and want to destroy them. Hey, doesn't that sound like the plot of this? Because it is the fucking plot of this. Oh, and then you've got Captain Jack thrown in there, who he has two purposes in this story. Yeah, I know, he's been upgraded to having two purposes from one purpose previously, so he does actually get some proper screen time in this one, which is nice. So in this one, he breaks the Doctor out of prison and supplies some explosives. That's about it. That's about it. Like that. Yeah, he doesn't really get an awful lot to do other than, hey, look, it's Captain Jack who's back. Which is like, John Barrowman, is probably one of the best parts of the episode, to be honest, because it is so much fun watching him on screen again. It's just unfortunate. It just feels like, though, he was just kind of shooed in to the story, because the story doesn't really change at all if he's not in it. So, while it was nice, yeah, they don't even kill him off at all in this story. Yeah, he doesn't die once in this one. So, they do mention, the whole coming back to life, but yeah, it's just that. I think the main problem with the story is it just plods along. It just plods along. It literally, I think it takes about 40 minutes for Daleks actually do anything in this. Yeah, I think it's not until like the 40-minute mark where Daleks actually start doing anything. Because the thing is, there's the reveal of the Dalek, this human-made Dalek early on in the story where they're demonstrating it, and then we don't see it again until much, much later on. And then there's the whole stupid idea that the Doctor has. So the mutants, the mutated mutants that these human-made Daleks have, they then obviously start going rogue and start killing all the humans. And the Doctor comes up with the bright idea, let's contact the actual Daleks and get them, to destroy all of the human Daleks, the human-made Daleks, and then Graham rightly points out, but wait, won't we then just have the problem of, the proper Daleks? And yeah, fair point. And plus, the real Daleks could always bring in reinforcements if they wanted to. We know that there are only thousands, there's not millions, but there are thousands of these Daleks. And the way they're defeated is by tricking them to all bringing the extra TARDIS that was on Earth and then having it combust. Then why couldn't you do that? Why couldn't you somehow trick, the human Daleks, the Earth Daleks, or whatever you want to call them, the shit ones, there we go, to going in there? Why couldn't you do that? Just like, why couldn't you just trick them and then you don't, you avoid the thing of bringing more Daleks to Earth? I don't know why, but hey ho, that's just what they decided to do. I am convinced the only reason probably why is two reasons. One, there was clearly a backlash to that Dalek design. Yeah, I know, and, they want to the BBC, probably more so the BBC, Chris Grimwell probably wouldn't care, but the BBC probably wants to reassure people, no, the Bronze Daleks aren't going away, this isn't the new design from now on. I think that was to keep reassuring. But also, I think the fact is, there's only two, I think, as far as I'm aware, there's only 2 of the new prop, like physical props, because they do use a lot of CGI ones in this, and oh god, when they switch to the CGI, it looks horrible. Particularly the bronze Daleks. Oh god, there is a scene where the bronze Daleks are elevating and then land on the ground, and oh god, this switching from the live action props to the CGI. Jesus Christ, that looks so bad. And then there's another scene of them flying in the air, hovering above the TARDIS, and oh dear me, it looks so bad. Like, why couldn't they do what they did back in Dalek or in Evolution of the Daleks and just cut to an actual prop when they needed a close-up of a Dalek talking? You know, cause oh dear me, does that CGI look really bad? It just does. It looks really bad as ever, and it's just annoying how heavily reliant on it. Nicholas Briggs oddly gives the Daleks on Earth, the human-made Daleks, he gives them an Imperial-esque voice. Not quite 100% Imperial, but he does give them that voice. So, yeah, clearly he understood what, this was playing into. But, yeah, an interesting one. Voice act. He does do a different voice. So, yeah, Nick Briggs is obviously great as ever as the voice of the Daleks. Nothing really to say about him, but something worth mentioning on a technicality, and I'm literally was checking this out right now, is there was a bit of a hype about this episode being the first, well, you could technically call it the first Doctor Who episode to be recorded, like purposely recorded in 4K. However, I'm going to tell you this right now. This episode, despite being recorded in 4K, I'm going to tell you right now, if you go on iPlayer now and it does say UHD, you will not be watching a 4K version of it. And shall I tell you why? Because it will be mastered at 2K. It will not be mastered at 4K, I can almost guarantee it. And if it is, I'll be really surprised. And the reason is because it's very heavily reliant on CGI. And generally, a lot of CGI stuff can only be rendered at 2K. For example, Hollywood films, most of them can only be rendered at 2K. For example, all the Avengers films, that have claimed to be 4K, they're filmed in 4K, some of them even 8K, but because of the CGI, that brings it down. So, yeah, despite what some people are saying, it might have been filmed in 4K, but I can almost guarantee, now there isn't confirmation of that, but I can pretty much guarantee, because of the heavily reliance on CGI, it will most likely be a 2K upscale. So, yeah, just thought I'd mention that. I might go into it later in a live stream about it. But anyway, let's get talking about the episode. To be honest, I'd rather talk about that, the UHD about it, because at least that's something a little bit more interesting than the episode. Because, yeah, there's this lovely 10 minutes or so. There's 10 minutes where I saw the glimmer of hope. Where, although it's a stupid idea, the Doctor going off to tell the real Daleks about, the impure ones. I thought maybe they'll do, something like Remembrance and Blood of the Daleks, where we have a little battle. And, well, you could call it a battle. It lasts a grand total of 10 seconds. And we never see any more of it. We just then cut later to the Daleks saying we destroyed all of the other Daleks. All the impure Daleks. And it's like, oh no. Just like, that could have been that was something probably people were waiting for, and then it just fucking ends. Yeah, so the bloody human-made Daleks are shit. Oh, God. Also, there was something a bit weird about the audio when they were on the ship initially. That first shot, when you see the bronze Daleks on the ship, the audio for some reason sounds like they didn't dub it over. It sounds like they used the actual audio that Nicholas Briggs, because Nicholas Briggs generally what he does is he goes, to the studio and record and he does the lines, there and then. But then what they normally do is dub it over as well, so obviously it doesn't echo. However, they must have forgotten to do that on this because there's scenes on the ship where the audio sounds really weird. It's like it's literally, coming off a speaker in the distance, and it hasn't been dubbed over, but it has in other parts, which is like weird. And also, for some reason, the bronze Daleks have been given the same attachments that the reconnaissance Dalek had. I don't know why. Does Chris Chibnall just fucking hate plungers? I don't know why they've got that. And speaking of the bronze Daleks themselves, they've seen better days. Like to say that they've seen better days. That all of them look a bit. I mean, they don't look awful. We're not talking like Destiny levels, but a lot of the domes aren't sitting flush on the neck sections, and also there's clearly some scratches on the eyes on some of the Daleks. Yeah, it's just looking a little bit like they need a bit of refurbishment. And then there's the whole, obviously this is the departure of Graham and Ryan. And the departure is very obviously foreshadowed. Like, we literally stopped the episode midway through to have a discussion about it, midway through to just have this one massive foreshadow. And and it's drawn out to hell. Like, to be honest, the departure is really drawn out. Which, I just think it was trying to milk it a bit too much. To be quite frank, I think it... So the departure itself and reasons for leaving, are just your typical, I've found my place here on Earth, which is fine, that's a fine enough reason, nothing new there, but they do draw it out far too long. It goes on for bloody 10 minutes. 10 minutes they draw that scene out for. Yeah, and Captain Jack doesn't really even get a goodbye. He gets a goodbye over an intercom. Yeah, he gets a goodbye over the bloody intercom. We do get a mention of Gwen Cooper. But yeah, Captain Jack says goodbye over fucking intercom in the TARDIS. Oh dear. So, yeah, I can't, to be honest, I can't really think of anything else to say on this. I might do a live stream at some point talking about it, but so much wasted potential in this. Like, even if you were just, I knew from the start it was going to be a rip-off of, Blood of the Daleks, or Remembrance, or a bit of both. But, oh god, how much of a fucking wasted potential it was. How much of a wasted potential it was. I will say though, at the end of the day, I would call this episode fine. It's one of Chris Chibnall's episodes where it's just the perfectly mediocre shit. It's just like this is one of the episodes that you'll just put on, watch once, and forget about it. Which is most of his episodes, because to be honest, most of his episodes I completely forget. So yeah, and that's the problem. It's just like there's no talking point about it, really. It's just everything there. It's just like it's so mediocre, and it just drags itself along far too much. It just slumps around, and it just skims over the interesting bits, which has been done in many Chris Chibnall episodes, where the interesting bit of the episode, the fun bit of the episode, if you want to call it that, completely skimmed over. And this is what we are left